Welcome back to the Overwatch World Cup, everyone. We are about to kick off my most exciting match of the day. It's going to be South Korea and USA, and we have Golden Boy down on the floor with Tyrong from South Korea to give us some insights.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Really appreciate it. That's right, folks. South Korea versus the United States. This one's going to be awesome. Let's make some noise. Love it. Love it. All right. So I'm down here with Swag Daddy Tyrong now, and his main man translator Richard, and we're going to talk about this upcoming matchup against the United States. This is your first time at BlizzCon. How has the experience been so far?
지금 처음으로 블리즈컨에 온 거로 알고 있는데 소감 한 말씀 부탁드립니다.
아마 제 게이밍 인생 중 가장 큰 경험이 되지 않을까요?
So in the world of amateur gaming, it's one of the biggest conventions he ever been to.
That's awesome. Of course it is. I know that's it's my first BlizzCon working, so it's very fun for me as well. So now you have a big matchup against the United States of America coming up next, USA. They are a great team, but you guys have been incredible throughout this entire competition. What is the plan to take on the USA?
지금 미국 팀도 잘하지만 우리 한국 팀도 엄청 잘하고 있는데요. 이제 미국 팀에 나서기 전에 어떤 전략을 가지고 상대할 건지 한번 간단하게 설명 부탁드립니다.
특별한 전략이라기보단 평소 하던 것대로 해야죠.
There's no really special strategy. You're just gonna play as they usually do in practice.
Oh, confident, very confident. All right, so I guess to close things out, any special shout outs since this is your first time here at BlizzCon? Anything you want to say to the fans back home in South Korea?
지금 블리즈컨에 처음에 오셨으니까 이렇게 지금 보시고 있는 시청자분이나 팬 여러분께 한 말씀만 부탁드려요.
꼭 우승해서 트로피를 들고 오겠습니다.
He's gonna win it and he's gonna come back home proud.
All right, this guy, he's pretty confident. All right, well, of course, best of luck in your matchup. This is going to be a barn burner, folks. Let's go ahead and send it back over to Rachel and the analysts to break things down.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. Thank you, Tyrong. Now, Tyrong sounds confident about this matchup, and we'll discuss that team. But first, things have changed here on the desk. We have to acknowledge this. We have not only Mr. X, we have not only Jason, our silent reporter, but Dyrus has joined us. What brings you to Overwatch, sir?
I've played a couple games of Overwatch.
I think I've seen those games. You play a little Roadhog now and then?
Yeah, just one trick. I got top 500 on 2 accounts for season 1. And then after that, I had to focus on some other things, but I will be back.
All right, well, I know Himsy out there is a little scared. If you spoke Finnish, you might be more scared. But we brought you in because we want to talk to you about the South Korea versus USA matchup. You, as a professional player, have played a lot in South Korea. You've played with these teams. Are any of these faces familiar? Have any of them crossed over from other games? Do you recognize anybody here?
Not in this particular roster, although I am familiar from the research I've done. I've noticed that there was Gamsu in Korea that came from League of Legends, but for these current players, I do not recognize. But from what I do know is that they're all very, very good, and I've seen their play, and it just blows my mind. It's another esports game where South Korea seems to be very dominant.
I mean, their whole roster is strong, but I think the 3 guys, at least that I look at, is, Miro, obviously on his Winston, the things he can do to just get in and out of fights. And then I'm looking at Tyrong. I spoke to him a little bit last night, and I was like, are we going to see some of the strategies you guys have been pulling out? Nano-boosted Symmetras, Torbjorns. They've used just about everything at this point. And he was like, no, we're coming in really focused. We know these matches are going to be pretty tough.
And then you look at like Rouge Hong, for instance, on the team, the support player for Ana. He's phenomenal. We saw him back at the Overwatch APAC premiere, and he was ridiculous with what he could do on this Ana. I think he was a McCree player before he did rotate over to that, but he hits almost every single shot. But his positioning, I want people at home to actually watch where he positions himself around these maps to play defensively.
All right, and we've seen a lot of South Korea this whole week long doing some really impressive stuff here. What has stood out to you as some of the staples of their competitive play?
I mean, every time we see them on Temple of Anubis, we see Bastion come out. I mean, just the way they're able to move Bastion around these maps has been incredible. I think they're just thinking so outside of the box, so different than a lot of these other teams, that they just catch them off guard.
I think when you ask them about doing like a nano-boosted Symmetra or a nano-boosted Torbjorn, they'll say, yeah, it was 100% serious, there's reasoning behind it, but we know there's no reasoning behind that. You're just doing it for fun. But what that tells us is they're not really challenged by any of the teams so far. And now we're going to see if USA can rise to the occasion.
Yeah, they're just so dominant that they can afford to like hide strategies or have a little bit of fun. It's just one of those things where since you're so high level, you know, you just ease up a little bit and get ready for your next matches and hide some strats.
Well, how about USA? USA is a team that is also filled with some big personalities. Everyone out there, I'm sure, familiar with Seagull. All big names here, Mezzer, Tailspin, Adam, love these guys. So what does USA have to do to put a dent in Korea?
So for me, I think it comes down to two players. I think I look at Tailspin, what he can do with the projectile DPS, you know, whether he can get going. Maybe we see like him play Pharah, and he plays very good Pharah. I think Stir. I think Stir's in an interesting spot because I thought he's played really well up until this point. I think obviously this is his biggest test, but I think out of, you know, the content creators, streamers that we have here, I think he's actually probably picked it up the fastest.
I think we can honestly look at every single person on the roster and say they really need to step up here today. But I think Gods is one man I'm particularly looking at because this McCree just last week in the opening week was fantastic. Like the shots he hit were insane. The tracking he was able to pull off, but also the fluidity in how the USA can play with rotating Seagull to like a Genji if their needs do have it.
Personally, for me, how I think they're gonna take this is South Korea is obviously like super solid and they're favored to win, but at the same time, I feel like they may have some strategies to pull out that we will be surprised to see.
And I think they can really learn from, it's kind of funny, Reinforce is not here, but what they did against Miro is like, we were talking a little bit about it last night. When he goes up top and you can't get to him, you just need to take the fight to his teammates, kill them, then worry about him last.
A lot of great plays to watch out for here. We've seen samples all week long, but now it is time for USA and South Korea to go head-to-head. And just a reminder for you guys at home and you guys in the audience, use that hashtag T-Mobile MVP and let us know who you think is playing best. Now let's get this match started.
Hey BlizzCon, it's Doe and Monte Cristo here. You ready for South Korea versus USA? This one is going to be awesome. And I feel like we're the perfect people to cast it. We're known long, far and wide for our great love of America.
That's right.
Our favorite region.
Our home nation.
That's right. And we'll see how they do against South Korea. So, yeah, there you go.
I'm curious about USA because both they and Russia have been running a lot of triple DPS compositions, which is sort of separated themselves from the wider field of teams at this tournament. Will it work against South Korea, who has such an incredibly strong tank line? That's really going to be the question.
Yeah, and the other question too is, you know, how is USA going to handle some of that crazy stuff we've been talking about? The Bastion, the Symmetra, the Torbjorn. That's going to be fun to watch too as we move into our first map, which will be Temple of Anubis, followed by Eichenwald. And if we need it, Lijiang Tower. And you know what we've seen, speaking of Bastion, we've seen a lot of it on defense from Korea on this map. And if NA ends up in assault or in attack rather, they should be aware of that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We've seen a couple of times now Korea has liked to run the Bastion. They played mind games against Finland by moving it around up on the top side. They baited them into a blind hook, which got a Winston instead. Yeah. So it has been a bit interesting. It looks like that is not what we are going to be seeing here. Perhaps playing against the US, they might be expecting that. Also, USA has been using a lot of Genji from Seagull over the course of the tournament, so may not want that, or maybe expecting potentially that Genji pick to come out. Gods.
One of the things that it's a Hydralisk skull. Wow, I hadn't noticed that before. That's awesome. But you're totally right, because South Korea we've seen has been very good at knowing what their opponents run, and so seeing our on that Genji now rather than the Bastion, knowing that on the USA side rather they do run the Genji, doesn't surprise me too much. And it looks like God's gonna be starting out on that Widowmaker, something we've seen a little bit more of lately.
And interestingly, Pharah Mercy composition coming out. So this is a long-range composition, and there is no McCree on the side of South Korea, so they may have some trouble dealing with this. Not a lot of long-range poke. Eska and Arhan going to have to be accurate from range, and we already see Miro up top.
Yeah, Miro diving in there right away, has to back out as he takes a lot of damage. God's just looking for some shots, but not getting in just yet. So if they can get the picks, America might be able to get onto the point pretty quickly, but that's a big if. You know, you need to get those picks. Seagull is on that Genji. Gonna get chased off the top away by Miro, but no, he's not going back. Finally jumps down. Has to play a little bit safe. Miro is one of the best Winstons we've ever seen.
Yeah, and it can be tough. They have these 3 DPS heroes. These have been the compositions that the USA likes to run, so they're poking their way up to some ultimates right now. God's actually going to switch over to the McCree. Widowmaker not giving him very many angles there into the point, as South Korea was playing pretty far back. Seagull finding a flank now with the Genji.
Yeah, it'd be more like Steep Gull right now. Miro on his own though, pops that primal rage, takes out Stare, and already USA in a bit of trouble. Gods goes down, and Miro already that one-man army. A little bit of support from the team, of course, but South Korea defends the first big engage of the round.
Well, they got caught in the small room. Tailspin comes in with a big barrage, though. Does get hit by the sleep dart and taken out by Arhan.
Yeah, he takes down Tyrong, but he didn't get a whole lot otherwise, and South Korea will hold strong for the moment. Tyrong on that Lucio, not going to take a long time to get back to the point anyway.
That was a huge investment by USA, too.
Yeah.
They used the nano boost and the barrage there onto Tailspin. Was shut down pretty rapidly by Jaehong's sleep dart. So nice ult advantage coming in. Just a little bit of one here for South Korea, but here we go.
All right, Seagull getting in there, trying to make a play. Goes on to Jaehong, takes him down on the point now, looking for both supports. Tyrong in trouble. He gets taken out. Seagull getting some time by himself, but he's got to worry. Here comes a Winston Miro, only at about a third health, though, so he's going to have to play it safe, too. And South Korea, after losing a couple, they lost Zumba as well, is going to have to try to fight back to take back the point, but it looks like the U.S. lost just enough that South Korea should hold it.
Yeah, we just saw Miro going up towards the health pack right there. Eska buying time with the wall and the ice block, drops his ultimate just to get a few more seconds. Now South Korea going to be coming back. Arhan going to find Seagull in midair with the dash.
Yeah, Genji v Genji, and Arhan known for his Genji play for months and months in South Korea. Barely survives that engagement, but South Korea still holding point A. And to get a full hold on Anubis would be huge. You don't see it a whole lot, but they're on track. Only about a minute 20 left for USA.
And we have seen South Korea do this in their match against Finland. They did manage to actually pull off the full hold just barely. As we did see Finland becoming very close to full holding South Korea. Did go to overtime.
I mean, I think we're going to need to see Adam get a huge res on that Mercy in a big, long, protracted fight. If they're going to take this point, it's just not going to be easy. They've taken a little bit more of a passive comp with the Fair Mercy. Now they're going in. We'll see what they can get. Barrage dropped in, takes on Eska right away. Gets Simba as well before the sleep dart lands. Aron, though, trying to strike back. He's got the nano boost. We'll see if he can tie things up in terms of kills. Going after the Mercy. Adam does go down. Miro with the kill there. And South Korea, it looked a little bit scary early on, but they will hold. Aron pulls out the Dragon Blade to try to finish things up. Miro gets a kill onto Seagull, who has swapped over to that Zarya. Meanwhile, though, USA gets 3 people on the point. South Korea may have over-pursued a little bit.
Yeah, they went way too deep right there, Doa, and they wasted the Genji ultimate trying to take out the Zarya. So they kind of got back-capped right there. Miro does manage to get back in time, takes out one, Mercy down.
Oh, Blizzard, can South Korea hold it? Gonna be tough. Gods gets eliminated by Eska, who gets back. After dying, there's a Graviton Surge. Tailspin will go down, and South Korea looks like they might be able to hold on here as 2 seconds, 1 second. If they can take out that last Zarya, they might be able to do it. Sir goes down, there's a Graviton Surge, but no follow-up really for the U.S. Sound barrier comes in from Tyrong, just trying to keep South Korea healthy, and as overtime ticks away, it will be a full hold for South Korea.
Yeah, that was a very close end to that game, nearly getting there into the overtime on the back cap, but everybody respawning on Korea. And without the Zarya there, they got one more elimination, and the rest of Korea flooding back into the point. So close, actually very close, nearly a cap there for USA at the end, but they couldn't hold it out. And Stir had a nano boost onto a low Winston at the end of that fight onto Mezer. Maybe would have been better to put it onto the USA Zarya player right there, who had a little bit more HP to work with, because even through the nano boost, Mezer was killed nearly instantaneously.
And while we wait for the teams to get set up for that next round, let's see what Eska had to say about the tournament so far.
투표로 뽑혔을 때 사실 처음에는 워낙 또 쟁쟁한 선수들이 많았기 때문에 걱정을 많이 했어요. 안 뽑히면 어떻게 하나. 근데 또 막상 뽑히니까 일단 너무너무 좋았고 무조건 잘해야겠다라는 생각만 들었어요. 당연히 우승을 하면 좋겠죠. 블리즈컨 우승이라는 커리어가 엄청 큰 거잖아요. 그렇기 때문에 꼭 우승을 했으면 좋겠어요.
All right, well, Eska is such a big part of what's made the South Korea team so good. He's looked great in Korea as well on Lunatic High, and certainly a player to watch out for. He does get overshadowed a little bit by, Tyrong playing the Symmetra, Arhan on the Bastion once in a while. Miro on that Winston, but watch out for Eska, man. He makes the plays.
Yeah, he definitely does. Just fantastic McCree player.
Yeah.
And let's see what the setup here is for USA. So God's going to be back on that McCree, a hero he did very well on. Was pretty successful even in their loss to Russia, shutting down Shadowburn on that hero. So pretty standard composition though for the first point defense. They are going to have the long range from McCree as well as the zone control from the Mei. And Korea looks like they may be going for a Tracer, Genji, Winston dive composition here. Can they get into the back line and take out Stur and Adam quickly?
Oh, we see a lot of this from South Korea. Eska's played quite a bit of Tracer in his career as well. Aran again on that Genji. That is his main. And we'll see if South Korea can make some progress on the point as USA setting up defensively on that platform. Eska backs off for the moment. Jaehong coming in to threaten himself on that Ana as well. Jaehong, yeah, like I said, getting the kill onto Gods right away. Tailspin, though, getting the revenge kill onto Arhan. And we'll see if Eska can hold this point, getting a little bit of time already as USA in trouble as Mira takes down Adam.
But God's positioning there was the big problem, Noah. He was out in front and immediately picked off with the help of Jaehong. So that's a huge kill, and that's just going to lead to an immediate cap here in favor of South Korea. Ult already up from Miro, who is getting a lot of damage done the front line, and he's just going to primal range and knock everybody off the point. Gods tries to get in, but is shot down immediately, and that's it. Map 1 goes to South Korea.
Well, what can you say? I mean, they look dominant on defense, they look dominant on offense, and I think the USA is going to have to do a little bit of thinking, a little bit of plotting if they want to have a bit more luck on our next map. Strong start for South Korea.
Jaehong hit a great sleep dart in the front line, right onto Gods. And once that first pick was completed, it was just a snowball effect immediately afterwards for the rest of the South Korean team. And they were, USA just couldn't get back from the point fast enough, even after some of those positional swap or hero swaps.
Yeah, and Seagull and the rest of the guys looking a bit in shock. And while they try to get themselves back together again, let's learn a little bit more about these guys.
The guys on Team USA are feeling a lot of pressure. All of them are professional players and have huge fan bases behind them. So I know they're going to be pressing that home team advantage.
Being chosen as captain for Team USA is honestly an honor. BlizzCon is an American event, and there's probably going to be cheering for Team USA, and we feel the pressure, and we don't want to lose.
It's awesome to be here representing USA. Everyone on the team is great. Everyone's just having fun. Everyone's putting in the work to play together really well.
I know we have what it takes to win. The team has been awesome because most players already play a specific role. Determining who plays what hero basically just comes super natural. Everyone knows what to do on the heroes they play because they've been doing it for a long time.
We came together sort of like a ragtag group of individuals from across different teams. We have Tailspin from Envious, Mezzer from Team Liquid, myself from NRG, same with Gods, and then you have Adam from Cloud9.
Team USA is big on adaptability. These guys can switch heroes at any moment, so look for big plays and clutch switches. I cannot wait to see these guys play together.
The chemistry in Team USA is incredible so far. In practice, I've never seen a team come together so quickly.
Deciding what lineups we want to use was kind of interesting. Everyone kind of knows what to do right off the bat.
There's always a couple different aspects to what makes a player proud. There's one, results, so we want to win. But the second one is we want to do it in a way that kind of shows our strengths.
Everyone can really play everything on the team, so if we run into any trouble on any maps, we can just quickly go over who can play what, who can switch to what.
I want to be creative, I want to be artsy, I want to come out with some cool stuff, make the fans cheer for us. I want to put on a good show.
All right, well, it's time, Monte Cristo, to move to Eichenwald. And South Korea has pulled out some pretty crazy strats on this one defensively. Remember, this is the map that we saw the Symmetra multiple times. That we saw the Bastion
every
multiple
time.
times. We saw the Torbjorn one time. But that was a memorable time.
Yeah, South Korea looks like Tyrong not going to be playing the Symmetra. He did play it against Finland, so
they're on attack right now.
Yeah, they are on attack too. We'll see it when they come back on the other side.
That's right.
So God's going to be switching it up to the Roadhog.
And we've seen him do just fine on that Roadhog in the past too, so not a bad switch, as they will just run that triple tank along with Tailspin on the Mei.
Yeah, this is a composition very similar to ones that we saw from Finland in the last series up against Spain. And South Korea at least not showing a Reaper right now. That is a tool that is very helpful, difficult to run a Genji. against what the U.S. is showing. Arhan flipping it up. Offensive Bastion against these big tank targets would be pretty effective as long as he doesn't get hit by a Roadhog hook.
Yeah, we've seen him do it before, but he is going back to that Genji for the moment. I mean, we've seen them do this before as well, too. A lot of poking, build up some ults, then go in there with Miro on that Reinhardt, have the Genji and the McCree kind of come from the side. They've taken the point pretty quickly with that strategy in the past. We'll see how well it works as they get started. Arhan, of course, up on that bridge. He's trying to build that ultimate up with the left click.
Yeah, it does have to fall back down as the Roadhog hook comes off cooldown, so they are going to try and get into a flank position here. God's is sort of tied up, and the Genji not giving him an opportunity to get the hook, but Eska is going to go down to Seagull.
Tyron taken out by Tailspin, gets left immediately. A little bit of support revenge from Jaehong on the side of South Korea, but losing Tyron will slow this push to a crawl for South Korea for the moment.
Yeah, the problem for South Korea right now is, yes, they have good poke, but they're basically just building up Stir's on ultimate.
Wow.
Miro going to come in with a charge, though.
Yeah, Arhan takes out Gods as well. There goes Stair. Arhan pulls out the Dragon Blade, and I think USA is in a lot of trouble right now. Seagull on D, Zarya not going to last too long. Against Arhan, it looks like South Korea is going to take point A and get that payload rolling.
Yeah, and they got the Ana ultimate just up so quickly on Jaehong. I'm a bit surprised because with all that poke, Stir should have probably been able to have his ultimate up first because South Korea wasn't killing anybody right there, and the heals definitely could have been coming through. But we are going to see the first push now as they move into point 2.
The thing about Jaehong, though, is that he is probably the best Ana I've ever seen.
Yes.
You can nerf that guy's ultimate as many times as you want, but he will always build it up quicker than everybody else. So not too surprising to see him grab that. But let's see how far they can push this payload here as we enter the escort portion.
Arhan is back on the Bastion, so...
Yep. This may surprise some people, but if you're watching this tournament, it really should. There's a Graviton Surge trying to set it up for Miro on that Winston in the back. They dropped the sound barrier, though, and that'll keep USA fairly safe for the moment, bringing some kills in, and they'll hold the payload for the moment.
Yeah, Tailspin going to find the kill onto Arhan right there as well, so easy push back for them. And that was a really nice sound barrier. One of the problems I think Adam has been having so far in this tournament has been timing sound barriers well. That time manages to nail it, and that really helps them give the defensive stats they need to turn the fight around.
Yeah. Jaehong looking for some targets. It's high noon, though. Let's see if they can get anybody with it. Jaehong has that sound barrier protecting him, but there's a Blizzard coming in for USA as they try to push South Korea back even farther. Seagull on that Zarya doing a great job of forcing out SK. There goes Jaehong. And it looks like the U.S. will hold for now.
Yeah, Arhan couldn't do anything, walled in and then hit by the Blizzard. So just taking advantage of the limited mobility that Bastion offers. And nice cleanup here. South Korea having trouble pushing through to this second point on Eichenwald.
You know, we have criticized South Korea in the past for doing things like that. Arhan pops that configuration tank, though. The Mail Wall comes up, trying to fire through it. He's got the Nano Boost on that Bastion as well, looking for some targets. Finds Messer, but not finding anybody else just yet. But it looks like it's enough to get the payload moving.
Yeah, Arhan has used that trick before with the Nano Boost and the configuration tank, just rocket jumping either through or over the May Wall, and manages to make it work right there. Sets up on directly on top of the payload right now and starts trying to deal with this. Stir gonna hit a nice sleep dart, so that'll buy a little bit of time.
Can you really put a robot to sleep? I question the lore of
hey,
that
I can
one.
put my computer to sleep, Noah.
Okay, all right, that's true. It's a sleep button. All right, well played, sir. Touche. Arhan, though, does get the kill onto Tailspin. Gonzo has that sound barrier as he goes in and tries to get a bit of revenge on Miro. He's got that pulse bomb. Primal Rage, though, popped by the Winston as he hops back over to the payload. Messer just trying to defend it. There goes Miro, having to reset there at the end, and South Korea needs to get this going again.
Yeah, again, though, maybe a bit of a waste on the Nano Boost right there. Nano Boosting Tracer, very rarely an effective idea, even if you are going to get the extra damage from the Pulse Bomb. They did have a Reinhardt available and probably didn't have to use it at all, but they do push them back, do force the Primal Rage out, and that'll be a reset as they go more on the offensive.
Yeah, dropping that Graviton Surge now, and we're going to try to find some more follow-up on that. South Korea, though, the ones getting the kills, and they're going to try to move this payload again. Ezra out of the action for the moment here. They're going to take down Adam. And right now, the tough thing for the United States is that they're getting split spawn pretty bad. It's going to be hard to set up any sort of defense before the door. And oh man, they find Stair the back lines. And that is a serious split spawn now for USA. People coming back to life at different times makes it really hard to organize a good defense.
Yeah, they're going to try it anyway, though. We're going to drop the Winston shield right in the front. And what can Team USA get done? How long can they hold?
Well, Jaehong took out a Tailspin already. Earthshatter coming in. And we'll see if South Korea can keep it moving. Arhan on that Genji nearly has that Dragon Blade. May not even need it as he takes down Stir. Adam goes down as well. There goes Seagull. And South Korea will finally break through the gate.
And this is going to be a good push for Korea, Noah. Sometimes, if you trickle in one by one to this third point, or the second point rather on Eichenwald, you can give up a big push right now.
Yeah.
We'll see how much they can get out of it. USA is going to be defending right at the doorway. And can they just last long enough for the portcullis to close?
Oh, Tailspin with a nice move on the side there, but he took so much damage he really couldn't pursue after Eska. Now the Dragon Blade gonna force the Ice Block right away from Tailspin, and we'll have to catch up to see what Arhan can get done with that. Kills coming in, Tailspin does go down, God's taken out by the Ana. Jaehong grabbing one, Sound Barrier onto USA, maybe a little bit late as Arhan continues to clean up this team. Meanwhile, though, the backline's Mezer did slow up the payload for quite a while, so South Korea not making a ton of progress initially, even though they were winning that fight, but now it's moving pretty fast.
No ultimates. USA through the kitchen sink in South Korea right now, and they've got Jaehong with the nano boost, and they have the Deadeye to create a zone in the throne room right here. Gonna fall back a little bit, try and open up with some shots. Nice fire strike.
Wow,
on Eska.
On the Winston now, getting really aggressive, swapping off of that Mei. Eska does have that Deadeye. We'll see if he finds a chance to use it. It's a little bit tougher on this third point. But South Korea having to back up all the way out of the castle.
Oh, Zuba, nice hook there to catch the Zarya. That gives him another pick. So they delay the push here from South Korea pretty significantly. And I'm a bit surprised that Korea didn't try and push more aggressively forward with that Deadeye. But it was a solid engage from the USA. They took out Miro nearly immediately.
It just didn't seem like they had the shields to keep Eska safe on that McCree to go for that Deadeye play. I would imagine we're going to probably see something like that as they move back into the castle now from the right side here. Eska again, waiting for that ultimate. Graviton Surge used though by USA, trying to get a big play here as Seagull gets a couple kills, and yeah, it looks like the USA on the back of that whole hog from Gods should be able to push back South Korea again.
And this should be a hold actually for USA, Doan. I don't think Korea's going to make it to the third point at this time. They actually used the sound barrier, but because it was a great combination from the Zarya ultimate and the whole hog from Roadhog, they just melted through that overshield and managed to pick up the kills anyway.
South Korea has swapped Eska over to the Reaper now, which I think is a good change. The Reaper generally doing a little bit better in this third part. And wow, Graviton Surge Azuma goes in! Big aggressive move by South Korea. Will it pay off though? Looks like it is so far. Kills coming in. There's the Dragon Blade, the nano boost on Arhan, and they absolutely wreck USA. South Korea will push, man, just when these guys look out, they do something like that. Nobody expected Zuma to come from the top.
Well, Adam didn't even have time to cast his sound barrier right there. They really needed that ability, and USA should have committed to that when South Korea walked into the room, made sure that they got that ability out because they would have been able to weather the storm.
But USA can still hold. It's not the end just yet. They've got to try to make this work. They've got the nano boost on the Mei. Interesting choice there. Adam gets a kill on the Miro, though. So one from South Korea down, one crucial one. And it looks like as the time ticks away, maybe they'll be able to hold Eska. They need this Death Blossom to be big. He gets one, but he doesn't get any more. Meanwhile, the teammates for USA doing work on South Korea, and it looks like they're going to be able to hold. Bezer gets the final kill on Nara. There goes Eska, and US holds on point 3 Eichenwald. 2 points for South Korea.
They get 2 points, and they get a good push on round number 3. Not quite to the very end, so there's still a good shot here for the USA to kind of come back and make it work, go for the full push. But man, that third point can get so hard to push at times.
It really can, and you know, when you push it that far, it's almost like getting 3 points as well. And as we switch sides here, let's actually, okay, I'm being told right now that this would be a great time, guys, to maybe, I would say, vote for who you think would be a great MVP in this match. We saw some really good play, I want to say, from Mezer there. So if you go ahead and hashtag T-Mobile MVP, they will pick that up, and you can choose to give a little trophy to one of your favorite players.
Potentially.
That's my MVP for that map so far, man.
Yeah, good stuff from USA. I'm really glad they were able to hold that. I was really scared for them for a little bit when they didn't actually get that sound barrier off, but the respawns came through, and South Korea couldn't quite push it to the very end. But still looking strong. I do think we'll be heading into the next map shortly.
Yep, that's right. I think it's time to swap sides, and we will see if South Korea can maybe hold on just a bit more. I think this one could certainly go to the third map.
Absolutely.
It all depends on who's prepared. Are you prepared, Monte Cristo?
I am not prepared for this.
Oh, I'm prepared. Well, at least one of us is. I love Aaron. He always uses that "you are not prepared" spray. Whenever you see a big team fight win, keep the camera on that guy. He'll spray it right at the end. Well, South Korea now on the defense, but no funny business here, man. No Symmetra, no Bastion. Looks like they're going to play it straight up for the first time in this entire exhibition match.
Yeah, I like that Eska's on the McCree too. They don't want any more of that long-range Pharah or sniper play that we saw coming out on Anubis from the USA. So at least they have a long-range option now to help keep them down. Firestrike going to go through the doors right there.
Yep. Jaehoong already trying to do some work, but Gods comes in for the early kill. Seagull very low, has to wait out that biotic grenade, but he's going to join the action again pretty quick. To lose Jaehoong is crucial.
That is huge.
That is an ult they need to build fast, and they are not going to have it.
Interesting that Jaehoong was in that situation. Arhan having a bit of difficulty now getting away from the Winston, and indeed Mezzer will take him out.
Yeah, Seagull looking for some victims himself as well. Mezzer on that Winston looking good. Actually, the USA pushing this point A so fast. There goes Eska. And South Korea in tatters. They have to fall back. They have to just give this point over.
Yeah, they do, and the pursuit just keeps on going, and the point is being kept. 3 members. Tyron will go down to Seagull, and it was really off that first kill onto Jaehoong. Absolutely huge. Yeah. They're going to walk in with a bit of an Ana ult advantage as we head into the castle portion, the second point here on the map. High ground taken so far by Korea, but Tailspin challenging on the Tracer.
Now, we knew that Seagull would basically have to become highlight video Seagull in this match for the USA to win, and he did it so far this map.
Absolutely. Oh, nice find there.
Tracer.
Very sneaky from Tailspin. And we just see Arhan already get low from the first Tango Tracer. No heals there. Top him up.
Yeah, Seagull there. Miro trying to jump in and cause some trouble on that. Winston has to escape immediately. The payload keeps moving for the moment here. Simba has that shield, obviously. Sorry, they can give over. Eska trying to do some work with that McCree on the top. And you gotta watch out for that Miro. Seagull gets a nano boost, gets a Dragon Blade out. Let's see what he can grab.
Eska got
5! I think he got 5!
Eska with an enormous Deadeye. He dropped off when he saw the Dragon Blade from Seagull coming in, and he just slaughtered USA.
How in the world did that happen? I mean, USA doesn't have the Reinhardt shield, but man, let's check it out. Okay, here's a replay, and we gotta find out. Whoa, whoa. And Eska's very good at walking backwards. He's got the Michael Jackson thing going on there.
Very good at rewinding in time. We're gonna go right back into the action, guys. Nano boost on Mezzer.
That's right, and so far, USA bouncing back from that kind of wipe from the Deadeye, and it looks like they're gonna keep pushing the payload. Miro, though, causing a bit of trouble, as he often does. South Korea taking up a position on the payload for the moment here. Tailspin gets a kill though into Tyrong, and South Korea just continues to be pushed back.
Yeah, USA started that by coming in with 4 ultimates after the wipe, so they go ahead and commit several of them right there, and now they're going to keep on pushing them up into the top part of the bridge, and they should be able to push all the way to point 2 with a very fast time.
It certainly seems that way. I mean, they did lose Tailspin. Actually, South Korea taking a huge fight right now. It looks like Arhan was able to clean a lot of them up, so South Korea will barely hold at the very end. Miro playing with fire here. Everybody likes to jump over the bottomless pit, apparently, on South Korea. Yeah, it's dangerous.
A big ult advantage for the USA. They've got 3 up, another couple on their supports, close to being full right now.
Yeah.
And it's a long time for a nano boost. So Korea has to shut down the nano boosted target from the USA. So it's all about Seagull right now, keeping eyes on him. He's probably going to be the one to receive the Ana ult with the Dragon Blade to try and make the big play.
All right, Eska's got that Deadeye up again, so maybe we'll see if he grabs another one. He pops the Deadeye. Let's see what he can pick out. They try to combine it, rather, with the Graviton Surge, and that actually does lead to a big team fight for South Korea yet again.
That's huge. And this is South Korea. They knew which ultimates were available. They were trying to shut down Seagull, so they just go ahead and throw out at least a Zarya ultimate that doesn't look very good at first. It only catches Seagull, but that combined with Miro's damage and the inability for the Genji to reflect the lightning gun means they get the important kill and they get more time. But USA still has a long, long time to work with.
I love that view we just saw. We can see South Korea spread out nicely, trying to see where the US is coming from. Tailspin going in now. They're going to come from the right side. Tyrong in a lot of trouble. trouble on that Lucio. Gotta watch out, the pulse bomb there as well. Meanwhile, the Dragon Blade pulled out. Oh, I think they nano boosted the Lucio. Oh, no. And Tailspin trying to find a place for that pulse bomb. USA, though, still picking up the kills so far. Mezzer gets one on Eska at the end. And finally, the nano boost goes down on Miro. Tyron pops the ultimate as well on Lucio, but I think it's a bit too late. Maybe South Korea, they don't look like they can stop the US.
Well, they got the Primal Rage now, so they're just buying as much time as they can. Pulse bomb goes down.
Oh, but that send him back to the moon.
That is 6 ults used by the USA on that push right there because they made certain mistakes that made that push a little bit less effective. So Korea now going to have a chance to reset. Deadeye almost back up. We'll see if they can defend for any longer. They're sort of just delaying as long as they possibly can. There's the cap, though. Okay. 3 full minutes. America's got a lot of time to work.
Yeah, they really do. South Korea taking the time that it takes the payload to batter down through the door to set up this defense, but Tailspin not really giving them much of a break as he is being really annoying on that Tracer. Has the pulse bomb again already. South Korea is going to need a miracle to defend here.
Well, Seagull.
Or just Arhan. Maybe they just need him.
They actually did get Seagull during the Dragon Blade there, so not an effective use of the Genji ultimate. They are going to push them back through the doors, and Zarya gets hit by a sleep dart, immediately revived, and then taken down. Arhan with the "You are not prepared" tag.
You are not prepared.
So USA, nice ult bank though. Their ult economy in a good place besides Seagull. They've got just the world to work with right here. 2 minutes of time and a very short distance to push this payload.
That's right. Stur's been doing great on this Ana so far. Looking for another nano boost target. Ideally, it won't be Lucio this time around. That's the US tries to push 5 out of 6 ults ready to go.
And it's very important that USA gets this right.
Good Stur. Yeah, he's not going to be able to nano boost right away. Meanwhile, Dragon Blade pulled out for South Korea. Arhan needs to come out big. Tyron goes down though. Tailspin trying to make a difference on that Tracer. The Blizzard used by South Korea as well. Eska had swapped over to that Mei. It's a pretty even fight, but it's enough of a win for South Korea that they will hold for now.
Wow, huge commitment from USA. The only person not to use their ultimate was Stur with that nano boost. He couldn't use it. He lost line of sight thanks to the Mei wall. And that meant South Korea had that 5v6, or 6v5 rather, coming into the point, and they clean it up, drop what they can. But it's 1 ult to 1 ult right now. Korea has stabilized on the defense.
All right, this is a dangerous moment now for the US. There's only about a minute left, and those Mei walls are causing a lot of problems. And if they can't do it with 5 ults, I'd be a little bit worried if I were them. There's a sound barrier for South Korea, as the US did try to push in there. God's now moving in on the Zarya. South Korea maybe pushed a bit too far up. They are really clumped up right now. Miro has to back away so low. The nano boost does go down onto the Winston for the US. We'll see what Mezzer can get done. He's got that Primal Rage. He's going to pop it. Going after South Korea now. And can he get anything? Getting Arhan is a big deal. That Genji out of the way means the US can dive in, and there's Seagull with the Dragon Blade. Let's see what he can pick up. Takes out Jaehoon, going for another one. He's been hit by the Bionic Grenade, though, so he will go down. Tailspin, though, does get Eska in the back lines, and South Korea has to fall back. The US might be able to get it right here. Can they do it? Can they take Eichenfold? There's some big Graviton Surge coming in for the US, but they need Tailspin to do more. He gets pinned. He gets taken out. Miro on the right heart now, and South Korea fighting back. Miro's got the Earth Shatter, and with that Blizzard, they might be able to hold it. They're pushing up. They've only got the last 10 seconds.
Yeah, they have the last 10 seconds, and they have an Earth Shatter for one of these doors. Can they get the CC? Gonna try and get in, or Seagull's gonna get Earth Shattered. He goes down.
And the wave from Miro as the US's hopes go away, and that is it. South Korea will take Eichenwald, and they will take the 2-0.
Yeah, wow, that was a very close ending to that game.
No kidding.
Korea holding strong. The USA, that last fight, the Stur getting walled off, absolutely huge. They dumped the rest of their ultimates. That was their entire ult economy, and they just couldn't get enough of an advantage back to push through.
Man, that really was about as close as you could get it. That Mei wall was the moment that the match turned around. And what a match it was, man. And what a better time to tweet and hashtag that T-Mobile MVP, because you got a lot to choose from, I think. There were awesome plays on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely, Doa, absolutely. So Korea will be advancing into the semifinals. USA, unfortunately, their time here at the Overwatch World Cup has ended.
Miro just looks so happy, which is so out of sorts with the way you see him jump on people with Winston. It's terrible. So, to break down that match a bit more, let's send it back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Doa and Monty. Phenomenal job casting what turned out to be the shortest match of this event so far. I'm a little sad about that because I was rooting for USA.
It was a pretty close 2-0 though. I think, well, outside of Anubis, I mean, I don't know what USA was doing on the defensive end there, but that Eichenwald was as close as it could possibly be.
Well, let's get a quick look at the schedule and the updates for the brackets right now as they fall, and then we'll get into the analysis for this match. This changed, oh, well, no, doing a replay. Let's do that instead, you're right.
Okay, I guess we'll go straight into that one. So the replay we wanted to show was actually something really cool out of Zumba, and I'm pretty sure they caught it on the cast. It involves him jumping through a doorway, but most importantly, it's what you didn't really see in a situation. So you have up here, Zumba's gonna be in this direction. You can see him already through the X-ray, gonna be jumping through that doorway. But what's most important is you're gonna have off to the side, Miro come in, he's gonna get sped boost in, and he's gonna get an Earth Shudder onto one man, but one man only, which is a little bit unfortunate, but the target he hits is Stir. He takes out a Nano Boost from the equation. He also stops any bot grenade, any follow-up, burst that they can provide, and wins the fight. We can go ahead and roll this and you can see exactly how it kind of plays out. I don't think at all that the US expected someone to be flying in through, not to mention 2 people flying in through that window towards the top-hand side, but with Stir being completely controlled Elo in that situation, they didn't really have the opportunity to really turn that fight around.
It's the first time I think we've seen that. I mean, we didn't see that in opening week. That's something that definitely South Korea had up their sleeves because that's such a hard area to get through when that castle door closes and try and break in. It's a very good strat to do it.
I mean, there's some teams, sorry, that actually don't even push the payload to leave the door open sometimes because they realize how hard it is to get through there.
And that map being one of the newer maps, tips and tricks, there you go. You can jump through that hole and just call out the Zarya ult.
That was some impressive stuff there. The way that Zumba moved on Zarya was really impressive. I have like 4 or 5 notes in here. But what was craziest was on Eichenwald, when Korea was trying to cap that first point and get the payload moving, Zumba ran all the way past it. He was halfway up onto the bridge chasing USA. They made some really bold plays. And I think we saw earlier on in the tournament, that didn't pay off so well for South Korea.
No, but it does work this time. And
Absolutely.
I think we were just talking a little bit about what could USA have done better on that second point. You brought up, you thought maybe like a Reaper and a Roadhog, but I don't think that exactly works.
So what I want to talk about for that map particularly is both teams push the first point very, very hard. But from a casual point of view, when you look at a Winston, you think, oh, pick Roadhog, pick Reaper. But as you mentioned on the second point, Reaper's not very good because of the spacing.
Just the distance, yeah.
Yeah, for me though, when I see Winston, I'm like, oh, just pick Roadhog and just focus him down. But like you said, you're talking about how they want them to focus Winston.
Yeah, I think for South Korea, they want the focus to be brought on Miro. When he jumps in, they want that attack to go towards him. We saw it a lot on Anubis as well. I mean, you see Miro right here just causing chaos, Primal Rage, but I feel like when he jumps in, the way you have to attack it, Jason, we talked a little bit about it, is attack their backline, because that forces Miro to go back into the fight without the jump to evade. That's when you're able to take him out easy.
Yeah, that's the game plan of Miro. He's trying to kind of get your attention towards the high side, make you look up there so the rest of his team can just rush you straight down. And when we talked to Rogue over at the Overwatch APAC Premier when they won against Lunatic Kai, they said the best way was to do that. Just push straight through, ignore him for the most part. Yeah, he's going to do a lot of damage eventually, and it'll tickle for a while. But if you take down his background, there's really no chance of him to really survive on his own. If you take down Rouge Hong, he's not going to live.
You didn't see USA do it. I mean, here on Anubis, this one was not very close. I mean, USA just, they don't get set up great on defense. But here on Eichenwald, on the offensive side of things, so it's interesting. We can actually see Arhan just going off here with the Dragon Blade. But when they get to that third point, South Korea, I believe USA switches to like a 4-tank composition. And then I think Tailspin maybe towards the end goes Reaper, and they're able to hold off.
Right.
I thought that was a good change.
And it's the fact that like it's 4 tanks, they're not really going to die easily to a Winston who's just jumping on you. Not to mention it gives Stir a lot of extra healing opportunity to get his Nano Boost back up. And I wanted to point something out actually on this map when we saw them on the defense. I believe Adam was actually using his healing aura on Lucio, and because of that, Rouge Hong had a Nano Boost up before their own team did, which allowed Arhan to take that first point like that. So there's just little things that can happen of keeping a speed on versus keeping a healing on that can really affect the grand scale of how a game can go.
One of the things I want to talk about for the 4-tank strategy is that when your coordination is not the best, it's always good to have tanks because you have more HP and you can survive longer and just focus on one target. And it seemed that the 4-tank strategy worked really well, especially since Miro changed from Winston to Reinhardt because it seems to be the meta for that point.
I thought on offense for USA, I thought Tailspin did a phenomenal job. So I mean, this is the Deadeye. Oh,
They're in the air. They fall out of the air like Like an invisible pinata.
Where's the MLG 360?
That is such a sick play, but for Team USA, they get to that third point, and they're just not able to push through. I think towards the end there, I believe it's, Gods with that Graviton. If that comes